welcome to another episode. Afam, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining.
Hi guys, glad to be
Uh,
back.
EeJay,
Hello.
okay. Mr. Buchi, thanks for coming on again, as always. And I guess we have to end with the elephant in the room.
The
The
Asterix in the room. The Asterix
elephant in the room, the Aztec in the room.
in the room.
Change
Ola,
his name as well.
I'm sure you're excited. You know, you have the red wine, all of that. So, congrats again. And I'll just go through the topics for sure. We're going to talk about Liverpool. That's the elephant in the room. We talk about what are the most important reasons. Just rank it, briefly. That what made them EPL champions this season. I guess it's EPL champions slash how the rise of this Liverpool winning team. Top four battle. We chat about United a little bit. The statement win. Talk about Wolves. They become like pretty much a 1-0 FC. And we talk about Rogers. When the Rogers is he bottling another one again? Fire. We end with quick fire. What has been the best game of the restart? So we'll start with Ola. Obviously, that's the elephant in the room. So tell us, Liverpool, what took you guys to the Holy Grail of land in this past 2 years, or this year? Either one, just rank it, I guess.
Um, Thank you, everybody, for allowing the champion to talk first. It's the right thing to do. Thank you for the guard of honor. Thank you.
Don't milk it, don't milk it, don't milk it.
30 years is a long time, my guy. I have to milk it.
It is.
All right. I think the most important factor for me is Jurgen Klopp. I think he had a clear vision of what he wanted to do. And sometimes it's easy to say, oh, you have money to spend. We've seen some coaches that have money to spend and they don't achieve much. He has had money to spend also, so we can't say it's not because of that, but he has recruited well. And he makes those players like they run through a brick wall for him, basically. Like, I was talking with Dio, I think when we were doing our Bundesliga podcast, and it was like, it's like Liverpool be playing on adrenaline all season. Like every match is like these players want to die there. They just want to we must win every match. And you need a coach to get that best out of you. You need a coach who's going to motivate you. I know people used to make fun of him as a cheerleader. They'll say this guy's just a cheerleader. But the man management is a very key factor. We know how Ferguson did it with Man United. With the dynasty, the man management is a very key factor. So I would say with Jurgen Klopp is the biggest factor because I don't think any other manager would have gotten this level of consistency after the setbacks. We've usually had setbacks and then we'll challenge 1 year and then fall to seventh the following season. It happened with Rogers. Rogers came second and then following season he came sixth or seventh. So we've had that many times with managers over the years. But last year we lost by 1 point and then this year we just said, okay, we lost by 1 point. This year we're just going to win every match basically. And I think that comes from the manager. The manager makes the mentality really strong. So that's what
Okay. So you think manager is the most important? Okay, that's good for. Let's go to Afam. What are your thoughts?
Two things. I think it's the transfer policy in Liverpool and the
Okay.
manager. And they are intertwined in the sense that the manager came in and had a clear vision of what he wanted to do with the team. And the board were on the same side with him, saying, okay, this is what you want, and this is how we're going to go about it. However, I read an article. There was an article you sent to me, I think it was sometime last year, about how they use sports science and how they scouted their players and how they found out how players will fit into the system and all of that. So they went for the players that they felt that will meet their system. So if you notice, they did a few transfers, but it was never really the names that you would have thought. United signed more high-profile players than Liverpool signed around that period, but they knew what they wanted. They went for Mane, they went for Lallana, they went for a few other players, and they knew that this is the style we want to play, and these are the players that we need, irrespective of their profile in the sense, if they're a big name or not. And they got those players. And they were close against Real Madrid, and they lost it, and they knew that, okay, there was one thing left. We needed a goalkeeper, and they went and they splashed the big cash, and they got Alisson. The same way they found out a season before that they needed a central defender, they went out and splashed the big cash on the player that they needed, and the team just became complete. Now, when you bring the manager into everything, he's special. That man is special because it's not easy to get players to deliver consistent results over seasons. It wasn't just one season. It wasn't 2 seasons. About 3 seasons, you could see the of the consistency.
Steady progress.
If you look at the other teams that were playing around that period, people were dropping points here. People would lose some one-off games that you didn't expect them to lose, but Liverpool were consistent. They just kept on winning and winning. It was almost like that Barcelona feel, like you know that, okay, once Liverpool are playing this group, there's no how you look at it. They have to win this game. Is what we expect. To get that consistency out of these players is a remarkable thing he did. And if you look at the midfield that they have, individually, not all of them are that great players. Like if you can pick individual players that are better from other teams.
Correct.
Compared to the Liverpool midfield. But he had a system that worked. He got the players to buy into that system. And thus, getting those results from playing the way he asked them to play just makes you feel like, as a player, like, okay, once I do this thing that this manager is asking me to do, I'm going to win. So they just give him that 101% every time they play. They've done well, they've won, but I kind of like feel like this next season that is coming might be a season where they might drop off. And I think that's why Klopp was very interested in getting Timo Werner. And he wanted to mix up that front three because I feel like the front three of Liverpool have reached their ceiling. Like, we know what they can give you. I don't think they can give you more than what they are giving you right now. So he wanted to be able to mix up a thing here and there, but they didn't get the player. But I'm very, very impressed because in modern day football, it's very difficult to get a team that will consistently deliver.
Okay. Those are great points. Great points from Afam. EeJay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they both said pretty much everything. I agree with Ola. The point Ola made that I want to jump in with is when he said that in the past they've seen drop-offs, like they'll go far and then come back and drop off. And I'll say I was one of the people that thought Liverpool would drop off this season. When we talked about it at the beginning of the year, and we said which teams will finish top 6, I was like, there's no way Liverpool will stay at the top again after they put on that, they mounted that campaign. We're so close to the end. They just did so much last season, won Champions League. I didn't think they would have enough in them to pull this off. And then this season started, and then they pretty much won every game. They lost only one, and that was at the end of when was that? The beginning of this year, right? And then drew once, lost one. That's insane. So, I mean, the reason is Klopp, in my opinion. I don't know. It's Klopp and then time. Like that it took him 5 years, right? Yeah, and I don't remember any. Maybe you had the odd Liverpool fans saying, "Hey, Klopp out," but not seriously. Like they were either joking or they weren't serious. You had the buy-in from the fans, the city, the players. Everyone bought in. They supported the club supported him, and eventually he delivered. First trophy was 4 years. It took him 4 years to get the first one. I didn't hear anyone crying about it. So I think the fact that they saw his vision, they saw what he wanted, they saw his style, and his style is also entertaining to watch. I feel like you can watch that style versus like maybe a different style who wasn't winning anything, and you get tired of that quickly. So kudos to Klopp. I was one of the people that laughed at him every time I saw him hugging people to death. I laughed at that. But that those things are important. That's what you said, man management.
Yeah.
You're right. People wanted to play for him. Like I remember watching some games where, and I didn't watch all the Liverpool games, but some of the games that I watched, I was just like, are these folks on steroids? Like, why are they playing so hard? You can't get even if you got the ball off of them, they're coming for you.
Yeah.
Like they didn't give you a corner. Like let the other team have a corner. No, they didn't do that. So they're very serious. And I don't know if they will drop off next season. I thought they would this year. To me, I don't really see why they would. But you never know. But yeah, I think time and the manager.
Okay, very good point. Mr. Zaza, do you want to go or do you want me to go? I think you should go. I've been seeing you urging to go. So go.
No, you go. You can go.
I should go?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so in my opinion, you guys have said everything. But I think actually it's FSG. I rank FSG first. I say this because the method, and I'll try to be very, very to summarize about the method which he recruited Klopp was very purposeful and very intentional when he recruited Klopp. I can't remember his name now, not Michael. There's a guy that did the research when they met Klopp in New York. They specifically researched managers who were outperforming their resources based on what they had And Klopp was like one of the people, their number one target. They interviewed Ancelotti too during that process. So, and I say this also because another ownership could have easily stuck with Brendan Rodgers. Yes, they fell off the next year, but they could have said, oh, that it was just they lost Suarez was their best player, world class. Gerrard retired. They could have died on that hill and said, oh, Suarez, Gerrard, oh, that's why. Let's give him more money, right? Like that's what I think. And that could have died on that hill, but they wanted to win. They came in. They said they wanted to win when they came in 2010. I think in 2010 they said they wanted to win, and they showed it. And I respect that. That's what like organization franchises using American term you do. When you want to win, you have to make ruthless decisions. You have to. You don't look at the fact that he came close. So that's number one. But Klopp, obviously, in fact, I want to rank them apart because I think that intentional move of who they wanted and being clear about who they want to be is very, very critical in this process. Then the second part, obviously, at the same level, I think is Klopp. Everybody knows, I don't care. I'm a United fan, but I say that because I've been following Klopp since his days, early Dortmund. Klopp is a genius. And I say this, people think I just say this because of no. I've been following exactly what he has done, how this Liverpool team has changed over the seasons from attack to slightly the person still doing it, to more of match control this season. And the three things I'm going to name what I think Klopp has done is kind of a disruption. His best defenders, or let me rephrase that. His midfielders are pretty much defenders. His fullbacks are his best creative players. His number 9 is almost like a false defender, a false 9, right? He was brought as an attacking midfielder, and all of this guy is like he leads the press. But Firmino, what he does in that team is so specific, and it's crazy when you think about it, like what he has done. That's why I think he's like a disruptor in what he has created in that team. Now in the very basic functional team, all the creativity comes from the wings and the way they move defenses side by side. So yeah, my opinion, Klopp and the FSG, brilliant. It's like right man with the right organization at the right time. So those are my thoughts. Buchi?
I think I'm the only one who isn't surprised. Not because I'm a genius per se, but because I kind of saw this happening. There was a time we were having a conversation in 2 seasons ago. I can't remember the exact time, but because I had that conversation many times, and I said Liverpool have to lose, and people were like, "Why do you hate Liverpool so much?" I said, "I don't hate them. If they win that Champions League trophy, they will win. They won't stop them." And what actually ended up happening was Liverpool lost that Champions League trophy, and I thought they were going to get weaker, but they actually got stronger, which shocked me. But I basically saw that happening. I saw the team being built. I saw what was happening. I saw what Klopp was doing. The thing is, it doesn't surprise me because Klopp didn't do anything new. There's nothing per se new because Klopp has played with high energy before. Klopp has been to the Champions League. He's just a perennial loser. That was just what he was before he got to, it was just what he was. And I mentioned that because the thing people forget is that there's one thing that fell in place for Klopp, which was luck. Lady Luck broke for him at the right time. Now, I'm not trying to diminish the guy, but it's just like the same way that in 1990, you had to win, Alex Ferguson had to win. Klopp needed some things to break for him. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. Van Dijk was not a new find. Everybody knew how good Van Dijk was. No other club apart from Man City who moved late decided to. They basically had a free ride at the best defender in the Premier League. I know that clubs needed defenders, but it was like, I'm not trying to say that they didn't make a good move, but what I'm trying to say was that those are the kind of moves that in other times teams would drag out with you, make sure you try and force it, but it just went smoothly.
It didn't. Sorry to cut you. It didn't.
I know that Southampton tried to hold the deal up.
At all.
But
that's why I had to play.
Okay. Maybe, but from what I saw was.
And I disagree with your point about him being the best defender. I absolutely disagree. He wasn't ranked as best defender then. We just knew him as a
what I'm trying
prospect.
To say,
yeah.
Please let Buchi finish anyway.
Okay, let's finish.
You could see he was good. He was actually
correct.
Good.
Yes,
he was actually
he was.
A very good. He was better than a lot of guys who were going for. At that time, who were going for more hype than him. Even though he ended up being very expensive, he was a good player that other people could have been looking. But it was like there was just something about him. I don't know. I don't understand, but there was something about him that the other teams did not go for him. But Liverpool intentionally insisted. They could have said, no, we won't go back to this guy after September. They went back in January and insisted and paid that much.
Yeah.
These guys walked and said, no, we're not going to buy at that price. Man City, they walked away. If Man City had insisted and kept, Man City had more money, they could have dragged it out. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to be like, it was like, Liverpool insisted on going on this guy, and they're like, no, we're not going. When Mane was bought, Mane, for me, was actually a player that was a gem. But guess what? There were two other teams that wanted to buy him, and then they pulled away. I think it was Arsenal. I'm sure Manchester United, but I think it was Arsenal too. And then they pulled away because manager changes. That gem moved away. But then the final point about Lady Luck, which I want to point out, was that people talk about Liverpool's greatness in the past 3 seasons, but there was one other thing that was happening, was that this also does not diminish them. It actually proves how great they were. Because Man City actually was on unprecedented form. Man City kept firing up, and Liverpool was just behind them. Like last season was just 1 point that they lost. The reason Liverpool won this season so clearly, especially with that sum gap, was clear Man City dropped. It could have been Liverpool. Liverpool could have dropped. Liverpool could have had more injuries. Like the Laporte injury could have happened to Man City. But it happened to Liverpool, but it happened to Man City. Now, why I mentioned that is, it is quite rare to have that. That's part of the reason why they were so consistent. To play 90-mile football, most of the squad fit for 2 years. At key times, they were all coming back. The ones that were gone, that was one thing. I think Lady Luck finally said, Klopp, it's your time. It's your time to win. Because it could have been Pep. If Pep too had, you know what I'm trying to say? That Pep could have still denied him this season. Because if you look at it, these guys had more resources. But just Laporte's injury, one key player they did not replace, ended up dragging City down. Yeah. So,
okay, yes, I saying that Liverpool won.
That's not planning.
So exactly, I was going.
Yeah, I was wondering.
What? Sorry to interrupt both of you. I want to get your what. So what are you ranking? I guess that's EeJay's question. What are you ranking as the most important points?
What I'm trying to say was that I agree with all the things. Liverpool did everything well, but at the key time,
you added
Lady Luck finally.
But that was not the most important thing. That wasn't the most important thing, though. That wasn't the most important thing.
Because one thing I believe Klopp would tell you that I'd rather be lucky than good now. Klopp has been good for many years. It was time for him to. I'm just telling you, it was like. I'm just saying that.
I don't agree with that. I absolutely agree with that.
I'm not going to take. Look, Buchi has made some very good points, especially regarding Van Dijk, regarding the fact that
Van Dijk was a point.
Klopp said, "Look, I must buy Van Dijk." Even when they rejected us in September, he said, "We with the fans." I know EeJay was saying some of the fans, EeJay was saying many of us we didn't complain about Klopp. We were, some of us were, because that time that Van Dijk couldn't sign for us, all of us were like, "Go and buy another defender now. Go and buy another."
I remember that.
Klopp said no. Klopp said, "I'd rather not buy anybody. I'll wait to January and buy Van Dijk." So Buchi is right about that. That Klopp knew what he wanted and he stayed, and we got him, but we had to pay extra for him. The luck part, every championship team needs a bit of luck. But
yeah, always.
But the examples Buchi was saying, number one about Mane, you can say that means you want to say all transfers are like luck then.
No,
so
that's not what I mean.
Buying Van Dijk was lucky.
What I'm trying to say was that
somebody else was. It's good planning and good scouting. Man City, yeah, let me tell you, Man City, they should have foreseen this. The new company was retiring, and instead of they went into the season with 3 centre backs. So Laporte was their main centre back, but they didn't even have anybody else to fall back on. Liverpool, for the reason that we knew that we had only 3 centre backs, we did not let Lovren leave. Now Lovren is not very good, but we just kept him for numbers. Be like, okay, let's have 4 centre backs. That's good planning. That's not luck. You have to know that, okay, you're going to a season, anything can happen. Right. We lost Alisson, number 1 keeper in the world. We lost Alisson for 2 months this season. 2 months. People don't talk about that. We lost Fabinho, who is our best defensive midfielder. We lost him for almost 2 months too. So when you're saying luck, we also had our own bad luck. But
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a direct question. This season, right? The level of performance Liverpool played this season the quality of football compared to last season, which was better?
The quality of football, attacking football or game management?
Attacking overall football. Liverpool
overall football. Last season was better.
Yeah,
last season was better.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is that that's what I'm trying to say is that if you look at the pace those two teams went last season was unbelievable, right? They had to drop off. But what happened was they both dropped, but Man City dropped so much because it's not natural to keep going. Now they both have a chance to now go back up again. That's what I'm trying to say was that it could have been Liverpool dropping lower. They both dropped.
How did they both drop?
When Liverpool didn't drop. Liverpool
didn't drop at all.
No, what I'm trying to say was quality of. Look, I pointed to quality of. If you remember, there are a lot of times this season when it was bang, functional 1-0 football. Not
that's how you win championship.
That's how you win.
That's why you win championship.
Do you guys watch The Last Dance with us?
Peggy was winning 1-0 for like how many games?
Of course.
Okay.
But that's why Peggy's the guy that says I'd rather be lucky than good. That's what the thing Fergie says. Well, that's what I'm not trying to belittle the team. I'm not trying.
I know you're not trying to do that.
No, we all know that. Well, I just think
I just think that for me, I just felt that this was going to happen. That the club, it was going to break for club. It was looking like all he had to do was break, and it just broke at the right time. Because last season he was supposed to win. It is that. To me, if you look at quality of football, I would say the championship team that won 7 games with 7 games to play on quality of football do not look as good as the team that lost the title on the last day.
There's
a reason why
we started to play winning football. We decided to play winning football.
Man City just fell off. The fall off of Man City was unprecedented, but I mean it was expected. But it was like to fall from.
We broke them.
We broke them. Right?
When you start opening a gap, you know it's difficult. It's difficult for them to maintain intensity. By December, we had like 12-point gap or something. You cannot expect Man City to now keep putting all their intensity and trying to close that gap again. You know, they had other things to win. They have Champions League they need to win.
Okay, top 4 battle. I think let's start with Afam. United. What are your thoughts about the top 4? I guess What are your thoughts about United, about top 4, and just summary of the game from Wednesday?
Okay, I'll start with the summary of the game from, I think it was Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Sheffield, yeah.
We did well. We won. Everyone was happy. Everyone was raving. But it's what I expect when Ole is our manager, in the sense that when you have quality players, he seems to do well when our key players are playing, basically. They always find a way to get a result. I just feel like sometimes when they go forward, like Martial, Rashford, Fernandes, and Pogba, they just find a way. They find a way to get something going for United, and we win. I feel like the fact that we have 7 more games to go, it will be enough for us to continue that way, where our key players come in, one of them turns a big performance, and we go past people and we get the points. But in the long run, you can only do this for a short term. Those players can only do that for a short term because they'll find a way, they'll win because they're just good players, they're just quality players. But when you don't have like a consistent way or a consistent pattern of breaking people down, today is a typical example of that. Yeah, we made a lot of changes. Some of the players are not as good, but even when you're not doing well or you're not scoring goals, you could see the pattern that, okay, these people are pressing, these people are creating chances, or the quality of the players are not just good. That's why we're not scoring. But everything just looks like when our key players are not playing and all of them are not starting at the same time, that there's just a massive drop, like almost from 100 to like 50. And I'm wondering, like, it shouldn't be that bad. Yeah, we could create chances, we could miss chances, somebody could make a mistake at the back and we'll concede. But you have to see that structure, you have to see that pattern. Liverpool have it sometimes where they decide to rest Salah or rest Mane and they play Origi. They don't look as great as they are when their first team starts. But you can see the pattern, you can see that they are effective. Or they might make it. Somebody might take a shot that won't go in or won't be on target because of his quality. But the gameplay, the pattern, the style is still there. Like irrespective of who they bring in, they can bring in Oxlade-Chamberlain to the midfield and take out Wijnaldum. It might not be as great as when Wijnaldum is playing, but you can still see that the team can get a result against some certain teams. But United just looks like when the full squad is not playing, then we have to just be praying that something will happen. And the worst thing that can happen is if we go 1 goal back or 1 goal behind. It's almost like the best we can get out of the game is a draw.
Yeah.
So I feel like with the players that we have now and with the amount of games left, we have enough. We have just about enough to push it. Leicester City have dropped off. I don't even know what's happened to them. Like, I just feel like the break came at the wrong time for them. They're a kind of team that run on momentum. When they hit that form, they can stay on that form. They run on momentum, basically. It showed when they won the league as well, that once they are on a high, they can keep that high going. The same thing happened to Sheffield as well. They were on a high, they kept on winning. But when everything went to factory resets and everybody now came back, it's now quality of players that are now showing. Because everyone is not 100%. So the quality of players will show in the way we play. So I feel like United can do enough
to overtake Leicester.
I think they'll overtake Leicester. And
Okay.
I think they'll overtake Leicester. I think Chelsea will still make the top 4. But I think Leicester will be the ones that might miss out because the way Wolves are going as well, Wolves are those kind of team that they just have their small group of 15 players.
Okay.
For some reason, they don't get injured. They just play those same people, FA Cup, Europa League, Premier League. They play the same people, barring 1 or 2 changes. They bring in Neto, bring in Jota, then swap Traore for someone else. They just have those predictable changes that they make, but they just keep going. And it's just 7 games more after having like 3 months of rest. So Wolves are really, really, really dangerous because their fixtures are not that bad. Leicester City have really bad fixtures. Chelsea, I felt, would drop points along the way, and they could still drop points. But the way I've seen them play in the last 2 games, especially against Man City, to me, that's the best game since the restart of the league.
Okay. You've answered like 3 or 4 questions. I like it. So I know that I'm not coming back to you again. You've answered like 4 questions again. It's true. You touched everything. That's good. I like how you answered everything. So I'm not coming back to you to save time.
Man City Chelsea was brilliant. That's like the best. Okay. I actually enjoyed watching the game. It was like a final to me. It's even better than some finals I've watched because it was free flowing. There was nobody sitting back and hoping to do counter-attacking football. When each team had the ball, they were going for it, and it was brilliant to watch, to see someone like Frank Lampard to have that audacity, to have that belief, to say, I'm going to go against Man City and I'm going to play very positive football. It's really impressive to see Chelsea play the way they play. And I feel like with barring injuries, having Loftus-Cheek come back, and when you have just 7 games, it's just form. Once you can keep that consistency going for like 7 games, it's enough to push you over the line. So people that are behind now will be struggling to find those games to get back into their groove. So I feel Chelsea will still do enough to stay in the top 4, but I feel Leicester City will be the one to edge out. If United keep winning, they might just get the top 4 based on goal difference against Wolves, because Wolves are doing what they usually do. They just go and be efficient. They don't need to be flamboyant. Just go do what they need to do. Jimenez gets them the points they need, keep their solid shape, and get their 3 points and move on. So I think United will make the top 4, but I think Leicester City will be the one to drop from the top 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Buchi?
I'll start with I don't think anybody will overtake Leicester, apart from maybe Chelsea, and I don't think anybody else is going to overtake them from beneath them. If anybody's going to drop out of the top 4, it'll be Chelsea. The reason is that the games people think are easy are not easy for Wolves. Wolves have games against Sheffield, Everton. Those are the kind of games that they might actually struggle with. They have other games there that might be fair for them, but they have tough games. Sheffield play a lot of sides in the top 6, so they might drop out, but they also might be spoilers. There are a few games where guys will play each other that will make a difference. So it's not sure for anybody dropping anybody, because Leicester will play Chelsea, Leicester will play Spurs. Leicester will play United. Sheffield will play, I believe, Chelsea. So there's all of these combos that will have to be decided. It might be a short season, but I don't think the shortness of the season really, it might be the end of the season, but it doesn't really play in, because it's not like the same where players are tired. The case this period might be that actually getting to the last 4 or 5 games, people might actually get into form and actually start playing well. So quality of the team might actually matter. Now, it might not be about, the depth of the squad, but how good is your first team? How can they win games? Because that's that thing. Then regarding United, I think United fans have this thing I call a hypocrisy or dual way of judging United. 1 minute it's the team is not good enough, the squad is not good enough, and the next minute, when the team is not playing well because key players are dropped, it don't look good. But I don't know any team that will drop 8 players apart from Man City and look good. It's the Premier League team you're playing in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup with 8 subs. Apart from Man City, very few Premier League teams would. And this is actually a Norwich team that if you let them play football, they actually will school most teams in the Premier League. They didn't school Man City. So I think we sometimes Man United fans judge United too harshly because of the level of Man City and Liverpool. But if Chelsea makes 8 subs against Norwich, they would suffer. That's just what
I disagree. I absolutely disagree.
I agree.
Yes. It's too much of a harsh judgment because this is the Premier League that is very condensed. This is the Premier League that if you lose 3 games, you drop from 10th to 15th. It's not like they're so bad that it's not. This is not the same Premier League of 10 years ago. So the idea that if you drop 8 first team players and play them against Norwich, that means you're going to be so much better. That doesn't actually.
I think you didn't get what I was trying to say. I'm not saying like they will be outrightly better, but you can see like even if they don't score the goals or even if they
United don't have good players.
See, no, it's not about that. It's not about that. When you play a team,
you play Mata as a right winger. What is he going to do as a right winger? That's the kind of problem United has. You expect Mata to start dropping back and be effective?
So who played him?
Those are the kind of players. So how do you play?
That's the question. Who played him? Is it me or is it Afam that played him?
But he has to be played because it was 8 players that were
players now. You have played so many games.
So basically, you expect a team where Lingard is playing as a left winger that he basically struggles in his right wing position, natural position. He's not playing as a left winger. First match since January. And how is he supposed to play well? And, it's basically like, this team came from 3-0 win, one of the best games we've seen, and then, they look so bad, so the manager must be bad. I just think that is too harsh. The team looked good 3 games ago, 3 days ago. Now, 1 game, that's just me. I just think it's too harsh that we're dropping off. The players are not good enough. We know that. They need to be changed slowly, but we can't keep jumping on the manager after just praising him 3 days ago for
We can't.
It's too harsh.
We got the result that I thought we would get.
Afam, hold on. You know why you can judge football on a game-by-game basis. You can. And you can criticize the manager for game by game. You cannot say because somebody's saying this game today was crap. It was absolutely crap.
I'm not saying
Norwich played better than us. And obviously the 11 we had, until those changes, they played better than us. They did. Until those changes, they did.
In a game that we passed before the red card, 2 times the
I think your points are done. So let me speak mine. Oh my God. Okay, so these are my thoughts. Which thoughts are fine. Ola, you go first before I talk. Ola, go. I'll wrap up.
But what about EeJay? Okay, sorry. Okay.
Oh yeah, EeJay hasn't spoken.
Honestly, I don't even know. At the end of the day, I thought this question was about top 4.
Correct.
Turned it
Into My United.
So I don't even know what he thinks. I don't know what you think about who will finish top 4, but
exactly.
I think it's.
I said that it's going to go up to the last day.
Okay.
That's what I said. That's the first thing I said. That Chelsea, if anyone would drop out, it would be Chelsea. The gap between Leicester and the other teams, they won't be able to overtake them because they play each other.
Just 1 point now.
They knock off points each other.
1 point.
Between Chelsea and
Leicester are 1 point away.
That's 1 point.
Yes, but Wolves that are 3 points behind Leicester have played 1 game in hand. So to now win the extra game means they have to expect these guys to lose 2 games while they have to beat. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just putting in my own combo that Manchester United will know, but Manchester United has to beat. Leicester has to drop 2 whole games for Manchester United to beat them. Actually, or 3, something like that. So it's hard. That's just what I'm saying.
2 games.
Okay.
2 losses.
Okay, so let's share your thoughts.
Okay. So before we did all this, Ayo, you and I, and maybe Ola and Buchi had a discussion about top 4, top 5. I felt like we were talking about how if City, that they uphold that ban, that maybe we're looking more at whoever finishes 5th is top 4. So I kind of thought that was what this question was going to entail, but it seems like you're talking about the true top 4. So let's go to the true top four. Whoever finishes 1, 2, 3, 4, and just ignore the fifth position.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea. I have to tip my hat because at the beginning of the season, I was wrong. I thought that they would. I thought Frank would just not be up.
We were all wrong. Stone Chelsea fans. A lot of us were in your camp, so to be fair, that's what we thought. I thought so too.
And even to the middle of the season, they kept losing some of these games that you would think that they should have won. So I still thought that they would kind of drop off. But I think what we saw, especially after the City game, and even the way they beat Villa, it was just kind of like it doesn't matter which team they play, they have the chance to beat you. And they would take their chance.
That's the point I'm making.
Yeah. So Lampard, I don't think he's even close to dropping off. I think, in fact, he's probably the only person that, apart from City and Liverpool, that's guaranteed top four. Now, I don't believe in Leicester, and I've said it before. I thought their 2016 run was a fluke, never happened again. And then this one, Brandon Rodgers, now that one was luck, and also Juju. So I won't get into that.
It's an outlier. It's an outlier.
I saw it myself. I saw them going to the club and spreading things around the stage, whatever they were doing. But yeah, I think if anything, I think the top four is set the way it is now. Like I said before, if the fifth place is now top four, then it is going to be between, to me, Wolves and United. But if we're talking about who's going to overtake Leicester, I think that's the shaky position. I think they can drop points. Even if they draw their way out, they could easily fall out of top four. So my bet is they finish the way they are, but I still think there's a chance for them to drop off. And I do think, I personally think, looking at y'all's fixtures, I think Wolves has a better chance than United to sneak in, if either of those teams are going to sneak in ahead of Leicester. So that's me.
Okay. Ola, what are your thoughts?
Okay, if I'm for the top four, I think Chelsea, like everybody's praising Chelsea, and it's fair enough because in a normal season, we'll say Chelsea are having a good season. It's just maybe because of the standards City and Liverpool have set over the past couple of years. Because even when people were saying, Chelsea were losing some games, that's how normal seasons are supposed to do. Teams will win the championship by losing 5 games, 16 games a season. United did it many times. Even Chelsea have done it before. They'll lose 4 or 5 games and they still win the league. Yeah. It's only now because the standard is so high. When you now lose 4 or 5 games, people are like, man, forget about it. But it's just the standards have been raised higher. So when Chelsea were losing games, I still thought Lampard was doing all right. And it was a very big win. That win, I think they're going to make top 3. I think they'll overtake it this time because now the confidence will be so high in Chelsea's camp. The confidence will be so high. Like they beating City was not a fluke. They went toe-to-toe with City and deserved to win that match. They deserved to win that match. So I think Chelsea will finish 3rd in answer to the question. Leicester City, I just don't know. Rodgers. Somebody in the group was making a joke. I was saying they shouldn't have given him money. He was using this Dave Chappelle.
I saw that. That was very good.
I think it was Christopher. Christopher was like, shouldn't have given Rodgers money because since he renewed his contract, he extended his contract.
Yeah,
I don't know what's happened to them. I'm really surprised. I would have loved for them to make top 4, but at this moment, even before the break, before the pandemic break, their form was bad. They were dropping. They won game in they won only 1 match in 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I think they won 1 game in 10.
Yeah,
their form was off.
Yeah,
the break.
They haven't won a game in a long time.
Yeah, so I don't see them finishing top 4. I think United will sneak in there. I think United have more weapons at their disposal than Wolves.
Firepower.
United have firepower. United have more firepower. Wolves are a very strong team. And I was mentioning it, I think, in our previous podcast. Their sports science departments, like the fitness, yes, they have all that. But they have a core group of only 15 players. Like Afam said, they use this core group of 15 players. United have more weapons at their disposal, more firepower. I think United are finishing 4th. I think Wolves might actually overtake Leicester. The way Leicester look, I don't see Leicester finishing top 5. To be honest, have you seen their games? I've watched their 2 games.
The 2 games?
Very dry. I agree. That's why I choose it. Very dry.
Very dry. Not like they were even trying.
against Villa, I think they created only 2 clear chances throughout the whole match. I was like, is it the same Leicester? The same Leicester that beat Southampton 9-0. They're so far away from that.
I forget that.
Against Villa or Brighton, you mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
it was
Brighton.
Villa. No, Southampton. Southampton beat 9-0.
No, it wasn't Brighton. It was Villa, and they played 0-0 against Villa, and they drew 1-1 against. Was it who scored?
Against Watford.
Was it
Watford? Watford was 1-1.
It's Watford.
Watford was 1-1.
Watford and Brighton.
Yeah,
I thought you're making a mistake. They played
Brighton
Watford
0-0.
and they played Brighton.
0-0.
I
Yeah,
think Aston Villa has not gotten any
Aston
points.
Villa.
they have 1 point.
It wasn't Villa. Sorry, it wasn't Villa. It was Brighton. Yeah,
That's
sorry,
true.
it was Brighton. So they've been terrible. So in answer to the question, United, Chelsea 3rd, United 4th, and Wolves 5th.
Okay. You're always very good at prediction, so I will go straight and just attack some stuff. I still think so. My prediction has changed a little bit, slightly, because of Leicester. Now, what Leicester do over the next 2 games will tell me if United or Wolves can catch them. If they don't win against Everton, I don't know who they play after Everton. If they don't win those 2 games and get out of this funk they are in, because they are in a terrible funk, like they don't even need to play so well. They just need to win. If they don't win those 2 games,
yeah. I'll just tell you the fixtures. I'll tell you the fixtures. After Everton, they play Crystal Palace. Yeah. Then they play Arsenal. They play Arsenal away. Yeah. Then they play Southampton, which is not too bad. They play Sheffield at home, which is not too bad. But their final 2 games of the season,
they are 3 points.
Tottenham
United
and Man United.
Yeah, I think so. That's why I say those 2 games are very important. I say this because I think they need to win those 2 games to keep that gap. Number 1, number 2. I don't want to say this because we look like we have overwhelming firepower. I look at Manchester United, but we look like a team that are going to draw points. I sense it's going to happen just because of some things I'm already seeing. I sense it. Now, going to Man United, let's talk about the Sheffield game. Martial, my guy. Martial FC. Dude, I spent hours and hours defending this guy on social media. I've defended this guy so much. I feel like I'm like his father. So that was special for him. that was special.
He doesn't really need defending.
I defended him so much against United fans, especially when we're struggling. Oh, he's not a striker. Oh, so many things I was defending against Martial there. So I'm happy for that trick. Second thing, Solskjaer. He has to get credit for that tactics because I criticize him when I see it. When we're bad earlier in the season, I still don't trust him going forward, but I have to praise him for that. Like he, at least at the very least, he put the players in that position against Sheffield. That was brilliant. The combination play was very good. So I have to give him credit for the tactics, right? So that's that out of the way. I don't want to dwell on this Solskjaer thing. I think I've talked about it ad nauseam. Everybody knows my position about Solskjaer. But that win, perfect. It was very good. Wolves, my God, it looks like Wolves. It looks like Nuno Espirito is almost like a new modern version of Mourinho. Like efficiency, like I think a lot of people have talked about. Just football, they create very less chances. They create like an average of 2 chances per game. But when they score, there's never, out of all the games I've seen, even before the break, there's never any time they look like they're going to concede. Now, the downside of that is at some point, you need to create high volume of chances because in game, there'll be some games where you have bad luck. If you have bad luck, you're creating 2 or 3 chances, you drop points. It's as simple as that. And that's my fear for Wolves, if I can use the word fear. But that is what I think might happen to Wolves, like Buchi has highlighted. Some of those games against those middle table teams that will just know they and sit back and wait for them because they're basically a counter-attacking team. So that's the problem I see for Wolves. They need to start because I think earlier this season, even last season, they were creating more chances.
Wolves play better against bigger teams.
All right, yeah, because they can sit back, they can keep their structure and break. They know how to break.
So do you guys.
That's true. That's a very good
that's the same with United.
Yeah, but what I mean is that in general, the average points against teams around them is not really that high. The points against them, Everton's, and this thing, it's not really. You're not sure they're going to beat an Everton. You'll beat
It's pretty poor, which is right. It's actually pretty poor. Because I play fantasy on Friday. It's pretty poor against their middle table. So that's my point for Wolves. I think Chelsea, like everybody has said, I don't need to harp on it. I think Chelsea finished top 4. I think the confidence we just drive them on. Leicester, wow. Brendan Rodgers, I think he's a good coach.
He's a good coach.
What he has done, because I think Leicester should not have no business in that top 4. They shouldn't. I put them at fifth beginning of season. That's where I thought their level should be. But wow, it looks like something is happening. Like they need to come out of their funk. So we'll see. I still think he's a good manager, but they need to come out of their funk. Sheffield is done. I think all these other people that were, I think they're done. Sheffield is done. Spurs have an outside chance.
Please leave us. We're rebuilding.
I think
the guys I meet, they know where they are. They know where they are, and it's okay.
Leave us. We're going to be like Liverpool. We'll finish 8th our first season with our coach. How about that?
That's how I use Arsenal to perform.
Come on. They finished 8th. Come on. I think that's the top 4, in my opinion, about where we are. I think to end the way it is, that's what I think. But Leicester is the red flag. If Leicester drop points again, then it becomes a toss-up between Leicester and probably Manchester United. I don't see Wolves. Wolves just, like what Buchi said, I just see them as this efficient football. You can only do it so much. There will be games where you need high volume of chances. And if you don't create high volume of chances, they will drop points. So,
but they're not that many games anymore, you know.
Correct. I know, but still.
They might just close their eyes. 7 games. Let's die there.
And these are 3 days apart. These games are coming like every 3 days.
I'll be very honest. I don't trust anything. I think what I'm saying is I think Liverpool won the league because
they've done the hard work.
The minimum of the job done before the season. People came back from like, think about it. Half of the teams in this league, many of them don't have enough players. Like, a lot of their players are unfit. Some of them are struggling to trade. Some look, COVID break really messed up teams. So I don't know. I think this thing we're looking at teams and predicting too far. I don't want to do it because I think this thing could change by next weekend or the following week. That's just what I believe.
It could, but it's just
there's too many teams that look out of form at the moment. Like Man City is not really looking so good.
How did they look?
No, they look good though. They look good until they play Chelsea.
Arsenal is the example of a team that does not look good at all. Yeah,
dude, I'm just looking to make an excuse now.
Come on.
No, Man City is fine. Man City is fine.
Their
problems have always been known.
Just joking with Man City.
Oh, their problems have always been known, and they like Ola said, hit the nail on the head. They failed to address it. They went into the season arrogant, in my opinion. They should have addressed that central, defense problem. It was kind of obvious. They should have addressed it.
They will need this time.
They will. They will. Probably before we get to the end. So, Afam has already said his. Ola, what was your best game of this restart?
I've been racking my brain, but I don't know, maybe it's just pretty obvious. Chelsea City just looks like the best game I've seen.
That was an amazing game.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe because there was a lot riding on it. Both teams went out for it. Look, both of us, we need this win. And I've been trying to think of any game that's reached that level of quality. I can't, from both sides. We've seen games in which one side was really good.
Exactly.
Yeah, most games have been, one side was really good and then the other side is not good. But this game, any of them could have won it. Either of them could have won it. Like City, Chelsea, either of them could have. City hit the post. They had chances. Chelsea also had chances. That's the best game in my opinion. I can't really think of any other games I've watched up to that level of quality. So sorry for the obvious answer.
No, I feel like everybody is going to say the same thing. But let me just ask first. Are you in agreement? Is that the best game you've seen this season, EeJay?
I mean, I didn't watch it. I just watched the highlights. So yeah.
You missed.
I know. The highlights were fine.
They were fine.
I was at work.
Okay.
But I don't recall any other game that I liked. Like the only other games I've watched, obviously Arsenal lost them both. I don't care about them. And then I watched Liverpool, Everton. Liverpool was boring. I think Aston Villa, Chelsea was okay, but that was because the only thing dramatic that happened there was when Chelsea made a good change and turned the game around. But yeah, I wouldn't say I've seen any other game that would, be more interesting than that one.
Buchi.
Leicester Brighton.
Just to be contrary, yeah. I expected that from you. Okay. So what's yours, Buchi? Just say it. Quick fire.
Same game. There was no better game. Yeah.
I'm going to throw in a hipster choice, and this is not a Premiership game. Sorry, because I just want to be different. That's what I do. Yeah. Atlanta last week. Anybody who just wants to see shootout, like when I mean shootout, like attacking football flowing, watch the highlights of Atlanta Lazio from last week. My goodness, that game was exceptional. Just go and watch that game.
Wait,
Atlanta Lazio was
isn't that the second high scoring game last year Spain this season? Did they have a
Correct.
high scoring game with Napoli or something like that? Or something.
Yeah.
They had another game. Those guys are going nuts over there. But
Atlanta especially. Oh,
yeah,
that team is
Atlanta is
free flowing attacking football, man.
a lot of good young managers in that team. They just create them from. I don't know how they get those guys, man. Atlanta, Napoli, they're just ripping off managers. Atlanta is a special manager. I like that guy.
Okay, Gasparini, that's true. Let me wrap up now so EeJay can drop off. So hey, everyone, we're coming to the end. If you like our podcast, please check us out. Facebook, Extraordinary Footy Fans, Twitter, Footy at AD Fantasy, on Instagram, Fantasy Footy, on YouTube, where this video will be, it's going to be Footy Fantasy. Everything will be at the end of the page. Check us out. Thanks everyone for coming. And have a good week. Stay safe wherever you are.
Cheers.